and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to sow lettuce seed. Lettuce is a great vegetable for beginners to grow at home. It's very easy to grow. You could grow a head of lettuce if you have a bigger plot at home, such as a raised bed. It requires a bit more space. It would do very well outside as well. But if you are growing in containers, it might be a good idea to grow cut and come again lettuce. So that produces smaller leaves. You can see them grown in a bucket there. You cut them and they grow back. So you would get about 4 or 5 harvests from cut and come again lettuce. So it's a really good option for containers. I'm going to show you how to sow your lettuce seed as a lettuce head and as cut and come again lettuce. So off we go. So filling up your compost into your seed tray. There's different ones you can use. I have another video up actually if you want to check that out, just talking about the equipment needed. This is a standard seed tray. I'm opting to use the toilet roll, which is a firm favourite of mine, in the fruit punnet tray. I actually cut the toilet rolls in half. You don't have to do that. I do it so I can fit a lid on. So you've got a little propagation system there. So it's worth collecting those punnet trays. So what you need to do is start filling the toilet roll or the cell. I guess a mistake people make when they're filling their compost into their seed cell tray is that they don't firm it down enough. People think, I just, you put it in and leave it, but you actually have to give it a good press. Leave about half an inch at the top. And I guess what you're going for, you've pressed it in firm enough if you can pick up the toilet roll and the soil doesn't fall out the bottom, like so. This can be a messy task. You can wear gloves. I don't, because I'm doing it so often, so I tend not to wear gloves. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this up. Okay, so that's all filled up now and nice and tidy. I did a little clean up. The next step then is to give the compost a good soak. So the compost I was using was fairly dry, to be honest, so it needs a good soak. So I've got a little jug of water here, and just add a bit of water to each tube, cell, pot, whatever you're using. You can see the toilet rolls are wet, but that's okay because they're nice and secure in here. So that's that. You compost in and you've soaked it with water. Okay, the next step is probably the most trickiest part, and it's actually sowing the seed. So this is lettuce seed, which is tiny, and a lot of seed is tiny. I'm not sure if you can see that there, but it's really small. So what you're going for here, I'm going to do one kind of tray for a head of lettuce. So for a head of lettuce, I'm going to sow 2 seeds per cell. And when the seed is this small, that's quite tricky. Don't worry if you get 3 or even 4 in. Try and be as accurate as you can. Space the seeds out as well. So I can't really show you this, but I'm going kind of 2 in the center, but they're not close together. And as I said, you don't have to be a perfectionist here. You might get 2, 3 or 4 in there. We're going to thin them out later, so don't worry too much about that. Right, so I have 2 seeds roughly in each toilet roll here. I'm going to get my compost and I'm going to do a very fine kind of sprinkling over the top. You don't want to bury them too much, but just a fine little sprinkle of compost on the top. Okay. If you have a spray bottle, this is great right now, and I'm not sure if this is set to the spray setting. Yeah, there we go. It's a fine mist of water on the top. You don't want to drown the seed, so sometimes using a jug of water is a bit OTT because you might drown the seed. And when seedlings appear as well, it's just a lot easier to spray them with a mist. Don't worry though if you don't have a spray bottle, although you can pick them up in a good few places. I managed with the jug last year, and you just have to be very, very careful. But that's it. You then go on to label. Labeling is so important because it's not too bad if you're only sowing one thing. you're not going to forget what it is. But once you have 2, 3, 4 things on the go and seedlings all start to look the same, it can get a bit confusing. So I'm just going to write lettuce, and I'm going to write head of lettuce, and then you just write the date. It's always handy to know when you sowed the seed. So I just plop it in there. And I'm actually going to put a lid on. It just aids germination. It's not a necessity. And just keep that in a warm, bright room. For cut and come again lettuce, same kind of principle, same method, but you're just sowing more seed. So instead of 2 seeds, you're going to sow maybe 5. Depends on the size of your cell. And kind of scatter them in. So, I've definitely got kind of 6 or 7 going in there, but honestly it doesn't matter, because if it's too crowded you can just thin them out later. So I've probably gone with 5 or 6 seeds per cell there. Right, so I have my seed in there, and again, like before, I'm going to just do a fine sprinkle of compost on the top. Not too much now, because the lettuce seed does like light to germinate as well. And then I'm going to give it a spray. And I'll go ahead and label that again, so that'll be lettuce, cut and come again, and the date. Okay? So that's it. That's the first video done. Apologies, my head was cut out. I'm new to editing video, and my first lesson learned is that you record video in landscape, not portrait. So hopefully you'll see my face next time. Do follow our Facebook page, Knocknaheeny Holly Hill Community Garden, and also our Niche Health Project Facebook page, and we'll see you soon.